Hi everyone, I'm Nick Smith and welcome to The Bottom Line. This is The Bottom Line, recorded April 9th, 2017. This is our last part of our Enjoy the Ride series, and today we're focusing on the mindset. Let me read to you today out of Philippians chapter 2 and verse 5. In your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus, who, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, and being found in appearance as a man. He humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. Today what we're going to focus on is how do we have the mindset of Christ? So first, what is it to have a mindset? So basically that means to feel like, to act like, to be in agreement, to be harmonious with someone. So when we have the mindset of Christ, we're basically saying that we are following Christ's will. We're following his example, the path that he set forward for each and every one of us. But there's a couple of things that we got to work on. The first one is, how do we be a humble servant? I want you to think of a king. Now, a king has all kinds of privileges and all kinds of rights, and he wakes up and probably someone has put his clothes out for him, and someone brings him his breakfast on a silver tray, and people are mopping the floor and taking care of the palace and doing all those things. Most of us would say, yeah, he's a king, probably everyone should be taking care of him like that. But what if the king woke up and he said, you know what, today I just want to show how much I love my people. So he gets up out of bed and he sees a little old lady scrubbing the floor, and he takes her by the hand and says, sweetie, you have been doing such an amazing job, but I want you to go ahead and take a break. I'm going to mop this floor for you today. Then he goes into the kitchen and they're preparing, the usual feast for him. And he says, thank you so much for all that you've done, the years and years of service that you've given to me. So he says, you know what? Today I want to show you how much I love and appreciate you. Take the night off. In fact, take my place at the table, and I'm going to make a delicious meal for you. You see, when Jesus came to this earth, he took the form of a man. He came in a format that we could understand. He didn't come as a conquering king. He came as a humble servant. In fact, he was born as a refugee in a foreign country. He wasn't monetarily rich. He didn't live in a palace. He came just as a lowly person to show us. And this is the creator of the universe who came like this, to show us how much he loves us. You see, God sent his son Jesus to die on the cross for us, to make a way, to make a bridge for us to God. And that took place on a cross. But you see, Jesus had to be obedient to that. To have the mindset of Christ, we have to be obedient. We have to follow whatever God has laid out for us. In worship teams at churches, they have this thing called a click track. And it makes it sound like. Now, you don't get to hear that out where you're sitting in your seats. But in the in-ears, in the worship team's ears, they hear that. And it's a constant reminder of how fast they should be playing or how fast they should be singing. Because someone could go, oh, I think the song should be faster today. And they're like, there is power, power, wonder-working power. Or someone says, I want it to be slower today. So they're playing it like, there is power, power. And then you take 2 hours to get through one song. The click track is designed to unite the team. No matter the team's skill level or anything like that, it puts them all together focusing on the same thing. It's what we need to do in our lives. We need to follow the click track. We need to be obedient to how God has us. Jesus was obedient even to death on a cross. Now, he may not be asking you to die on a cross today, but maybe he's asking you to finally forgive that person. Maybe he's asking you to ask forgiveness from someone. Maybe he's asking you to be a better employee, to not always try to get the credit, to not, just be arrogant and prideful at work, but to help those around you. Or maybe it's to help the homeless person. It's so easy for us to just walk by and disregard them, but to remember that they are a child of God. I encourage you to learn to live with the mindset of Christ. And as you do that, it's going to shape you. It's going to transform you into something else. Let me show you what I mean. Here we go. Plastic bottle. Let's say this plastic bottle represents the mindset of Christ. And this book represents you and I. A lot of times we go, okay, well, how am I going to fit into there? And we're trying to go, and we go, oh, I don't fit. Maybe we can get a corner. Oh, maybe if I go this direction. And no matter what we do, we can't fit because we're hard, because we've already taken a permanent shape. You see, what we need to do is we need to take the shape of something like a sponge. You see, a sponge is flexible. A sponge is willing to bend. You see, to be a follower of Christ, we need to learn to be flexible. Even though a sponge is bigger, but I can be flexible and I can squeeze into the will of Christ. What I'm asking you today to do is to be flexible, to follow Christ, to be obedient to Him, to be humble like Him, to be a servant like Him, to follow the Scriptures. And when you do that, you're going to follow the mindset of Christ. God bless, and I hope you follow after Christ this week.